Well, CHOGM's official opening is just hours away, but already local politics is threatening to overwhelm the Prime Minister's turn on the international stage. Tony Abbott's gate-crashed the meeting in Perth, lining up his own bilateral meetings, while Western Australian Premier Colin Barnett warned international visitors about the federal government's mining tax. Political correspondent Tom Eagleton reports from Perth.
Third seat in,
yeah,
okay.
On this side, so the first one will be the Secretary General, then the Queen, and then yourself.
The stage is set.
Gee, it's big, isn't it? It's 2,000 seats.
Amazing, isn't it? Look at that.
And the political volume's being turned up on CHOGM Eve.
Check one.
That's right.
Julia Gillard met with the Malaysian Prime Minister,
I think we probably need to do that again.
the co-architect of her failed people swap deal.
It is not a Malaysian solution, it is an Australia-Malaysia solution.
And he took a veiled swipe at Tony Abbott's criticism of his country's treatment of asylum seekers.
Refugees and asylum seekers are treated well in Malaysia. That is a fact, and we're recognised by the UN as well.
Would you be happy if Mr Abbott changed his mind? Would you be urging him to change his mind and pass the legislation?
I would be happy for all Australia to support the arrangement.
We in Australia have different standards, and our standards are the ones which we are required to observe in our dealings with people.
Tony Abbott's gate crashed the Prime Minister's International Leadership Party by coming to the host city himself.
Look, it's good to be here in Perth in the week of CHOGM. Today I've got a number of bilateral meetings.
One was with the Indian delegation.
If the government was serious about reducing global emissions, they would lift the ban on selling uranium to India.
The Foreign Minister says that's a matter for the Labor Party and not CHOGM.
Personal view on uranium export?
I'm looking forward very much to the Australian Labor Party National Conference.
Mr Ferguson, what about you?
I'm looking forward to the debate too.
Mr Abbott's also using the pokies issue to steal attention from the Prime Minister's tilt at international diplomacy. Opposition's growing against the government's plans for mandatory pre-commitment. Casino boss James Packer says the move will hurt recreational gamblers as well as addicts. Tony Abbott says Kevin Rudd's got his doubts too.
He pointedly declined to support the Prime Minister's policy. Obviously, he's using this issue as a wedge in his campaign to retake the Labor leadership.
Mr Rudd says he's been busy concentrating on talks about protecting global democracy.
And here we have Mr Abbott, the alternative Prime Minister of Australia, engaging in this sort of discussion this week. I mean, give us a break. I'm not going to buy into it because we've got other priorities this week.
As leaders, we will be discussing and debating issues in order to project a united voice on some of the most pressing global challenges like food security, climate change, the global economy and sustainable development.
But Tony Abbott's not the only Liberal trying to hijack the Prime Minister's moment in the global spotlight. Last night, West Australian Premier Colin Barnett told a CHOGM Business Forum that the mining tax posed increased sovereign risk for foreign investors.
It's a stupid, ill-conceived, inept proposal. Everyone knows that. Everyone in the room last night knew that. I was telling them, only stating what everyone knew.
Was that an appropriate use of this forum?
I think that's bordering perilously close to a domestic question. As is well known, Premier Barnett and I have a different view about the appropriate taxation arrangements for minerals.
But the Premier is unapologetic.
And we don't want a mamby-pamby conference. We want actually a conference that's got a bit of oomph to it, and that's what people came for.
I thought Colin Barnett was very, very restrained. I thought he was very, very statesmanlike. There are a lot of other policies that he could have criticised had he chosen to.
We don't have to surely sit around and agree on what everyone's going to say. What a boring conference that'd be.
With the chance to rain on Julia Gillard's political parade, the coalition will aim to keep it as interesting as possible. Tom Eagleton, Late Line.